Hey, Grievers and Groovers. How's it going? It's Wednesday, and it's February 7th, and want to know how your week's going, how things are happening in your neck of the woods. I am super low key today. I don't know why. I've just been sleepy all day. I hope it doesn't mean I'm getting a cold, but just slow going. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to kind of tune in. Just received notice from my bank that my debit card was compromised. Not through anything I did, but they sent me a new card and said I had until February 13th, which is next week, in order to, get everything sorted. And of course, yesterday, while my friend was in town, we were, going out and about, and my card was rejected almost everywhere I went. So, dear Bank of America, thought I had till February 13th. But thank you for making it such a huge inconvenience. So today that's probably why I'm feeling sleepy. It's because I've had to do all the boring grown-up stuff that we have to do when we're grown-ups. We've got to go through all our bills. So basically, if you're like me, you have everything located online, it's so easy and you don't have to think about it. And also, because I travel a lot, I enjoy traveling, but I also travel a lot with Good to Go. I don't have to have anyone bring in my mail for the most part, because I don't get a lot of mail because I pay all my bills online. So of course, with a card that's compromised, you got to go through every single one. But what is so beautiful about this is I had to go into my own departure file, my Good to Go departure file. I had to go through my own Good to Go advanced death care directive. And I had to basically go to every single, I'll show it to you if you guys don't have it yourself, but there's a section in here and it's all about your bills. So, it's all the specifics: customer service phone number, do you have an online account, what's the password, things like that. I literally had to go through my own and then go to every single account and switch the card over. So it's not just for death. I should make a commercial, shouldn't I? It's not just for death. It is for life. So that helped me tremendously, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't a pain in the booty to get through. And there's still things, that are coming up that I'm like, oh no, I've got to fix that. Who's tuning in? I see two of you. Hello. Hopefully also give me some likes, give me some thumbs up if you can hear and see me okay. Is the picture pixelated like a scary pixelated swamp monster, or can you see and hear me okay? I'm hoping it's okay. Next week is the V word. It's Valentine's Day. Are you guys ready? Basically the day after Christmas, the stores were showing Valentine's Day stuff, stocking, candy, cards, the whole shebang. So it was pretty much December 26th was when Valentine's Day stuff started popping up in the shops. I am single, so alas, I don't have a Valentine. I know that's shocking for all of you, but just wanted to talk a little bit about Valentine's Day. Obviously, if you're missing a loved one on Valentine's Day, if it's a partner, that's a tough one. That's really tough. But funnily enough, my mom was my Valentine. My mom would always send me cards and letters, and on Valentine's Day, and we'd call each other and we would talk about being single. And, back in the day, in the 90s, I used to try to rent Schindler's List every Valentine's Day because, if you rent Schindler's List, you're just happy to be alive by the end of it. You don't care if you're single. You don't care if you're broke. Just breathing and being upright. That's That's a gift. So it always made me feel better. I know it sounds funny, but it always it made me feel really good. And so I don't rent Schindler's List on Valentine's Day anymore because I'm quite happy to be single. I love my freedom and, you know, all of that good kind of stuff, all the good things that come with it. But grieving when you're single, especially when you're grieving big ones, as in, you know, mom, dad, things like that, it's tough. I'm not going to lie, you know, especially when you lose the people who love you the most. You know, I remember when after my mom passed away, I was having a talk with my dad on the phone, and he was like, I don't understand why you're still really upset about your mom dying. And I'm just like, well, you wouldn't understand because you didn't have a relationship with your mom, you know, like the one that I have with my mom. So, you know, of course you wouldn't understand. But, you know, it's kind of, it goes on forever. You're just always grieving. You know, it's one of those things where it's just always there. And I don't know what my point was with this. Again, I am really hazy today, and I don't know why. The weather's beautiful. It was really hot yesterday. It's been sunny and lovely in LA, but for some reason today, I have just been fuzzy thinking. So what were we saying about Valentine's Day? I was just thinking, you know, for every chocolate or piece of candy that you're going to give a loved one, or for every rose petal on a rose that you're going to give to your loved one, what if you could imagine that every single one of those things was tied to a question that needed answering before you died, you know? So you're going to give, you know, chocolate covered cherries to your loved one. So for one piece, that's a social media password that your partner would need. And for the next piece, that's you know, a little bit of information on a bill that you would need to pay. You know, it's like, what I'm getting at is that advanced planning is a loving gift. Now, granted, it's not as fun in the now as chocolate or candy or flowers, but as far as giving a gift to your future self, it's worth 1 million boxes of candy. It's worth 1 million roses, you know? So I encourage you on Valentine's Day to be with your loved ones and to talk about advanced planning. Hi, Tanis. Is it Tanis? Am I pronouncing your name right? I'm missing my hubs this Valentine's Day. I bet. I'm so sorry for your loss. Sorry your dad didn't understand your grief. That's sad. I know. I think it's sad for everybody. Don't you think, when people don't get your grief, don't understand the depth of it? It's one of those things where it's just always there. For me, because I was close with my parents and they're gone, you know, it's just one of those things where you try to just get on with your life and do the normal things, but just a goofy thing like going to the grocery store, and then you see a certain food item that, you know, my mom or dad loved or would be interested in, you know, or there was a sale on Cheez-Its or something like that, and you think of that person, you know. You go shopping to get a pair of socks and you see a mom and daughter together, or you go to try something on and you can hear moms and daughters talking to each other in the changing rooms, and, you know, or I remember one instance really hit me in Nordstrom's rack. I went to try on like a shirt or something, and it was around prom time, and I could hear mothers and daughters talking about the dresses they were trying on and arguing, which was hilarious because my mom and I would argue about stuff like that too. And like, no, it's too poofy. No, it's not. It looks fine. You know, that kind of thing. But even those little interactions, it reminds you of your loved one, you know. And then don't even get me started on like music or TV shows that come on that make you reminded of your loved ones. Oh, that's funny, Tanis. Am I saying your name right, Tanis? Is it Tanis? The grocery is the biggest trigger for you. I know, because especially if you were shopping for two, you know, you shop for the things that your loved one enjoys. And then when they're gone, it's just very odd that you or sometimes I would just buy something specifically because, my mom or my dad, liked it. For my dad's birthday, I bought a box of Cheez-Its and I ate a couple Cheez-Its and had a bottle of Pepsi. So, those are little ways of kind of trying to, keep that relationship going, I think. But when you're single, it's just nice to have somebody at home when, even if you're having a really bad griefy day, you can come in and say, you know what, I'm feeling down. I saw a mom and a daughter in the dressing room, or I saw a dad helping his daughter pump gas at the gas station, and it made me miss my mom or my dad, and it's just sad. And how great would it be to just have a hug waiting on the end of that, just a kind of validation of what you're going through, and just some compassion and some sympathy. And so when you don't have that and you come home and you're feeling that way, you kind of have to be your own cheerleader. You kind of have to, take the role of what a person who'd be living with you would try to do, to kind of talk yourself up or kind of out of it, and that's really hard. It's really hard to do by yourself. Okay, so Tanis, it is right. Tanis with an A. I apologize. I'm the worst at names and pronunciations. But yeah, grieving when you're single is a whole different ball game. I think I could write a whole book on all of that, because not only are all the death duties down to you, you don't have anybody to help you with them. You just, it's one of those things where you kind of are just like, wow, how am I going to get through this? It's just me. But then you do get through it, and you do get to the other side. But it's not easy. And I found a lot of comfort in music. I always joke that, Paul McCartney's my musical boyfriend, or, or that music itself is my boyfriend, because that's what I get comfort in. But I think a lot of people don't understand with grief and loss, it's just always there. And, I've had friends say, oh, I'm sorry to bring this up, and obviously you're getting emotional or you're getting teary. Oh, wait, can you guys see me? I think my screen just went like cuckoo. But Tana said, it's very hard to relate to grown children. We're grieving different ways. Yes, I still have my parents, so I can't fully understand their grief, and they have theirs, so they don't understand mine. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, obviously, like a basic kind of blanket understanding of grief is helpful, but man, it's so unique in different ways. And I was talking to a friend of mine when I was in Austin, Texas, and this has come up with clients before. They've talked to me about how someone has died and they just feel very alone, and yet their partner or their family member feels offended. Like, well, what am I, chopped liver? You're not alone. I'm with you. But if you have a connection with a person who's died, you feel left in a sense by that person, and so that makes you feel kind of soul alone, or as I called it, stone cold alone. But it has nothing to do with the people who are in your life or who are around you who love you. That is just a solitary feeling that you are going to naturally feel from that person dying. Hi, Dana. She says, we can see you, but I'm watching the thumbnail view. Well, to show you how smart and pretty I am with technical stuff, I don't even know what that means. A thumbnail view. I don't know. Is this a thumbnail view? Boom. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but at least you can hear me and see, okay, I think, sort of, in a way. But anyway, grieving when you're on your own, and it's just so important to have people who at least have a basic kind of understanding of grief. I'm wearing my grieving shirt that my friend made for me. It's a little iron-on, sparkly, rainbow, glittery grieving, because we don't wear black armbands around society anymore. And even though I feel like the heaviness of grief has passed, I still feel like I'm grieving. And so wearing this shirt around town has been really, really interesting. You know, I've had people go, ew, like make a sound out of the hole in their face like that. And I say, what's the matter? Did you eat some bad cheese? What's going on? You know? And then I've had some people that say, wow, is that a band or are you actually grieving? And I'll say, well, I feel like I'm on the other side of the heavy grief, but you know, I'm just wearing it because I want I want to kind of bring it out, you know, from under the rug that everyone tries to sweep it under, and just let my freak flag fly and open the conversation, start the conversation. Tana says, I make my grief very personal. It does make me feel alone. They still have their significant other, but my world is gone. Oh, I know, Tanis. I mean, you know, I jokingly refer to it as the cavalcade of death from my whole family dying in the last 4 or 5 years. But I don't know what it's like to have a partner, you know, every day, and to have that partner, you know, passed on. It's a whole different kind of intensity. So I'm hoping that you can find someone who can understand, whether it's a local grief counseling, you know, group in your town. But yeah, it is. It's hard to empathize. It's hard to really, you know, understand. And I've had friends say, well, you know, I'm not really that close with my parents, so I don't really understand what it's like to have them be my best friend, and, you know, things like that. So, you know, my heart goes out to you, and I'm just sending you a big virtual hug from my kitchen in Los Angeles, because I have no idea what you're going through, and I'm so sorry that your heart's hurting. But I do say this to my clients who've lost loved ones that I can't relate to, whether that's a child or, you know, a partner or a sister. You know, I say the love that you have for the person that you lost is the only thing that's going to help you get through this, and you'll get through it. You know, that's the thing. Oh, Tana says, thank you for making me feel validated. Well, I mean, that's what we're here for. That's all that Good to Go is here for, is to let you know that you're not alone. It's going to take time. And that's the thing too. It's all that grief is always there. And I was thinking, a friend of mine is on the Whole30 diet. I don't know if you've heard about this whole craze, but it's called the Whole, as in the whole, not as in the whole, 30. And you can't have sugar. You've got to have sugar out of your diet. You can't have dairy, you know, all of these things. And then at the end of it, the big prize is that you feel better, you have more energy and all these things. And I just thought, well, what, you know, people who've lost loved ones, we've had a diet completely free of our loved ones every day, all the time. And I feel like we should win some sort of award. Don't you think that you should win some sort of award for actually, like, waking up in the morning, getting out of bed, brushing your teeth? I mean, forget about flossing. If you can even manage to floss, that's like you're ahead of the game. But all of these things, you know, you're just like, do I get a prize for surviving Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, you know? And for you, Tanis, you know, Valentine's Day, oh, I mean, don't you just want to wake up and have it be March already? Because it's just, what do you do? What do you do? You know? Oh, it's just intense. And it's always there. And, you know, I've had friends, you know, I'm sorry to remind you of your loss. And it's like, you're not reminding me. It's just always there. And it doesn't matter how many years have passed. You know, a friend of mine was talking to me about his mom who passed probably 25 years ago, and he was getting teared up. And then I was really pissed because I thought, you mean in 25 years from now, I'm going to be equally as sad? That doesn't seem fair. But he was just like, yeah, sorry. And it's a club that nobody wants to be in. But that is why advanced planning is so important. And having the conversations with your loved ones about what you would like done if something should happen to you. Not just, you know, do I want to be cremated or buried, you know, but how would you want your memory to live on? Would you want your loved ones to plant something in your honor? I love the idea of, you know, my dad was kind of got into gardening in his later years and had a lot of fun flowers and plants in his backyard. And I love the idea of my good friends who live where he did in Ohio, taking snippets and clippings of the flowers and the plants and having them in their own garden now. And that's part of Dad's, collection. So I love that. So the idea of being able to talk to your loved ones about, ways in which you'd like to be celebrated after you go. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. Montana says, I'm on 15 months. Ooh, I know. Look, step away from the bridge with one leg over. I don't think you're going to be this sad in 25 years, but that it's always going to be there. It's always going to be in your heart. Our loved ones that we lose are always in our hearts. And, I started bawling because I was talking to a friend of mine who has a tattoo on the inside of each arm, one for his mom and one for his sister. And I said, oh, that's so beautiful. And then when he told me why he got them there so he could see it instead of, on the back of his shoulder or, on his butt or whatever, he said, I know that when I'm on my deathbed, I can look down and think of them and they can be with me. I was like, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh. I gotta have a minute. I mean, that was just so moving. And I thought, what a beautiful thing to think about. Like, your own death when you're projecting forward and you're sitting on your deathbed and what's a good reminder of the people that have loved you and the love, which is eternal. It's just crazy. Yeah. Grief is crazy. Oh, I'm so glad that you had an awesome man. And, it's that old saying, what is it? Don't be sad. What is it? Don't be sad because it happened. Be happy that it happened in the first place or something like that. It's true. It's just like you had, a really great partner and now he's gone. And so, you've got to come up with a new normal. You said you're 15 months in. For me, all my losses were still fresh after 15 months. The first year, I think you're just trying to survive and trying to figure out and navigate this crazy trip that is grief. And then after that first year, you look back on it. I look back on it and I think I was present. I was consciously trying to be present and also wanted to remember, how am I getting through this? Because when I experience death again, and everyone experiences it multiple times, I want to know how I'm getting through it positively, but I was too tired to even put pen to paper in my diary. It was just like, it was literally like, Dad died. That was it for like 5 months. I just couldn't write anything more. And so I was trying to write some sort of instruction manual for myself to prepare, but it didn't work. But that second year, then you look back and you think, oh, that was kind of a haze. I don't even remember that. And I took a trip around the country with one of my mom's really good friends, one of my good friends. And so it was, let's see, my dad died in May. So it was June, July. So it was 3 months after he died. And we were traveling around and I was seeing friends. And we drove all the way across the country and all the way back. And I had a great time. Obviously there were times where I was really, really heavy with grief, but I went back and looked at some of the pictures and all of them are me laying down with a hoodie on, like in a ball. I was like, oh, here's the Grand Canyon, me in a hoodie and my earbuds in, just like, what's just happened to me? It's just one of those things. It's just like, wait, what? So I hope you're being gentle with yourself and know that it just takes time. And, you need an award. Hey, Kim. Hey, Candace. Tanis, you need an award for getting through 15 months of grief. And you're on the other side of the year mark, And I also thought that, like, with 1 year going past, you would magically feel better. I like to produce things, and I think a lot of women like to be the organizers and organize things for their families and themselves. And, I was constantly asking everybody I knew, how long does it take to grieve? I would like an approximate timeline so that I'm sure. Can you guys see me? My screen keeps coming up funny, keeps acting weird. Whoop, whoop. I'm going to wrap up here in a second, but just think about, Valentine's Day and appreciating your loved ones and having a chat. Nothing goes good with a box of chocolates and some flowers like some good old advanced planning talk. Say, dear Valentine, roses are red, violets are blue. Let's talk about advanced planning. Woo, woo, woo. Hi, Dawn. Dawn says, my husband passed almost 2 years ago. I've had to seek help to deal with this passing. Well, I'm so sorry for your loss, Dawn, but good for you for seeking help. I did the same exact thing. I knew for a fact that this death had the ability to destroy me and to make me go crazy and to get me hooked on heroin or, anything crazy and extreme. I think death can have that effect on you. So I was lucky. I knew right away, this has never happened to me before. This is overwhelming and crazy. I can't get my head around it. I need therapy. #therapy. So I immediately called and made an appointment, days after I learned that my mom died. And man, did it help. It just, if you've never experienced death before, therapy just is so helpful. And again, it's so individual for everybody, but it really helped give me the skills and the tools to kind of, feel all the feelings and kind of understand how to process them. And I think the big thing, and I don't know, Dawn, if you can relate, your counselor's been a godsend. Well, you can. I was just going to ask you, but, if you can relate, it's just good to know that you're not going crazy, because grief has a way of making you feel friggin' bananas. It just makes you feel crazy, especially if you can kind of, for the most part, live your life with a pretty decent kind of, I don't know if control's the right word, but let's just say control, for lack of a better word, since my brain's fuzzy right now, the foggy grief brain. I can control the way I react. If I'm in traffic and I'm mad at a traffic jam, I can kind of rein that in, breathe, and recognize, okay, they're not doing it to me personally, although, people, if you don't turn your turn signal on in front of me, I am going to put some sort of voodoo hex on you, with love. But it's one of those things where grief, just all feelings and emotions are kind of off the table because you've never felt them before. It's a first time. And you think, well, I'm a pretty, together person. And then you find yourself like breaking down in Walgreens, and you're like, wait a minute, why is buying this 99-cent nail polish totally searing into my soul and making me sob uncontrollably for my loved one? It's that idea of, you just want to know that you're not that crazy. Dawn says lost and lost. Exactly. I feel out of control that he moved on first. Right. I know. And where are they? Where'd they go? I was listening to a podcast by Claire Bidwell Smith. It's a grief podcast, which I recommend to everybody. It's called Sunday Morning. And she was asking a medium, about, what is the afterlife like, blah, blah, blah. But then she was like, where'd my mom go? Where'd they go? Are they having a party somewhere? Are they having a Super Bowl party somewhere in the next dimension? It's brain bending and mind melting. It's big and it's weird. And all I know is that we're going to get through it, because that's life. This is what happens, and I think if we had a more open conversation about death and dying and obviously advanced planning, we'd be a little more prepared. Nothing really can really prepare you for a huge loss, but man, talking about it really helps. And it's just one of those things where it's kind of an uncomfortable topic, but now I I tell anybody, and even wearing a shirt like this, you know, I've had unbelievable interactions with members of the public, and someone saying, oh, I wish I would have had that when I was grieving, because you go around and you think, does that person know, you know, does this person who's just like, have a nice day, does she understand that, you know, I'm an orphan now? And, you know, it's just funny what your mind tells you. Anyway, so Valentine's Day is next week. We're going to go live on Valentine's Day. So you guys will be my Valentine, because I don't have a Valentine right now. But maybe that'll change next year. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy. I love my freedom. I love being able to move around and do what I want when I want to do it. I appreciate it. It's a huge gift. Dawn says it's a date. I know. Can we all gather around? We'll get some wine. I mean, it's a little early for me to drink on the West Coast, but if you guys are joining me from the East Coast, I mean, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? So, I mean, I'll have a little cocktail with you guys if you guys want to have a cocktail for Valentine's Day. And let me know what you plan on doing. And, you know, Tanis, let me know if you're planning on, you know, writing a Valentine to your partner, or, you know, if any of you out there are watching this and you've lost a loved one, as in, you know, a partner, whether it's a husband or a wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, you know, what do you do on Valentine's Day? I'm a firm believer in writing letters to the deceased. I just feel it's good to get it out. And I, in a weird way, feel that they kind of hear it, you know, and I think that that's kind of, I mean, other people would think that that's wackadoodle-doo, but it's worked for me. You know, on Christmas, I wrote a little letter to my parents. So, you know, I just wondered what you guys do, or if you just try to avoid it altogether and then just eat your feelings and, you know, a Whitman sampler. I don't know. Let me know, because, you know, the way you guys get through grief also helps me. It's so individual and so different. So I love hearing all of your tips. And a lot of people watch this video when it's not live. They watch it later when they actually have some time. So still, I would love for you to interact and hear how you're getting through it. And if you actually were grieving a loss when you're single, you know, but again, as I said earlier, even losing a partner and then being single is so different, you know. So anyway, I'm sending all of my love out to you guys and all the grievers and groovers. And I am giving you mentally an award for getting through today, you know, and even on the worst heavy days, just knowing that I could take it an hour at a time, or even a minute at a time. Like, I'm okay right now, and I'm okay tonight. You know, I've got food in the fridge, clean clothes, a safe place to put my head and sleep. And if those are the only things I can grasp that I'm grateful for right now, I'll take it, you know? And so then it was just building on that and the things that you appreciate about the living, you know? And I know our loved ones wouldn't want us to hurt so much, even though we do. But that's just something to keep in mind too, I think. But Dawn says, I'm addicted to Diet Pepsi. I'm addicted to Diet Sunkist. I'm trying to cut down, but maybe a little Diet Sunkist with a little vodka on Valentine's Day on Wednesday when we do it. So anyway, it's so good. Oh, hey, Meredith, how's it going? It's so good to see you guys. Thank you for interacting. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. And that's at Good to Go Peace. I post a lot of music stuff, a lot of, you know, advanced planning stuff, and I'm going to be posting some Valentine's Day stuff too. So anyway, take care, you guys. It's good to talk to you. It's good to get it out, to know that we're not alone. We're going to get through it together. And, you know, I'm here for you. You can send me an email if you're feeling super duper sad, and sending you guys a virtual hug, and I'll talk to you next week. Okay, so have a good week, you guys. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.